I really had this focus of being the best that I could be. That for me is success. That's the only thing I can really control. Regardless of the good, bads, and the ugly, I know God's got a plan for me. I've always backed myself. Give me the opportunity, I'll take it. And I think I've proven that, wherever I have gone so far, he was just all about, being the best you can be in the details. So when you go to Danny Bailey's training session, passing a ball across the pitch for like 40 minutes, do you know what I mean? And talking about the detail with the technique and so on and so forth. It was just about being the best that you can be in it.
Right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Coach Gerald Lami podcast. Today, I'm excited for this one. This is a guy, the definition of don't give up on your dreams. I've seen it with my own eyes. Currently playing with Crewe, Alexandra. Been working hard behind the scenes. Like I said, I've seen it with my own eyes. I'm looking forward to diving into just the journey, the mindset to the growth as I've seen him grow into what he is now. Without further ado, I want to introduce Omar Beckles. Welcome, my bro. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
No, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you having me here. Yeah.
Anytime, man. Anytime. Before we get started, I want a big shout out to Anything Possible Clothing. Just a quick one here. We'll leave the description below and everything like that. Again, the slogan, anything possible, bro. Like, I think that's a slogan that gets thrown out there quite often. Someone like yourself, like I said, I've seen you grind from the ground up, where I don't think some people know about the Sunday League as much. Like it gets real gutter down there. It can get really messy. And you've been there. I've seen you do coaching sessions with the younger ones, with Danny Bailey. Shout out Danny Bailey. What does that mean to you? Anything is possible in your what resonates to you when you hear that phrase?
What resonates with me? I think anything is possible is almost like eliminating that there is an impossible. Mm-hmm. So like we set limitations on ourselves where we say, I can't quite do this, or I did this and I can't do that, and so on. And it's basically not allowing certain things or limitations to define you. Mm-hmm. So for me, if I really put my mind to it, if I really believe and I pour it all out, in regards to chasing after a dream or whatever it may be, most definitely, I can achieve that under the right circumstances. 100% definitely can achieve that. So yeah, man, that's kind of what it means to me. So, big statement by me, though. Big statement. Big statement.
That's the thing, because obviously a lot of people do throw it out. The whole anything's possible, but there's times, especially where we grew up in an environment where sometimes it looks like there's no way out. Was there ever a time for you? Because again, like, you've come through a system of, like, you went abroad, you went to Spain, which we'll dive into a little bit later on as well. Stepped out your comfort zone, come back. Like, was there ever a time where you felt like, you know what? I don't think it's going to happen for me. Like, I don't think this football dream is going to happen for me. And what, if it ever did, like, what was going through your mind? How was you feeling? Like, what did you do to kind of snap out that sort of feelings, if that makes sense?
Yeah. Defo was there. Defo. So I was chasing the dream. As you know, I was at Millwall, and then after out in Spain for a year and a half, and then that kind of got shut down. Then was in non-league, and I did the non-league rounds, playing for loads of different teams. And there was like 2 seasons on the trot where I was kind of like chasing the dream hard. I went to, I think there was Kettering were doing this kind of full-time semi-pro thing. And I was like, yeah, this is it. I'm just going to get my head down, training every day. This is what I need. Then they couldn't pay our wages second month in. It was mad. So that got shut down. Next season, went to Histon. Young bunch of lads, they're all on soccer, like they're playing football. So I'm like, this is the one, innit? My boy the season before went from there to Luton. So I was like, this is it. I'm going to bust. Was enjoying my season there. But then come January, like, budget got cut. Everything was shut down. And I was like, rah, at the end of that season, I was saying to myself, like, I'm out here chasing the dream and I've got nothing to show for it. Like, my mates are like, whether they've packed it in or whether they just, got a job and they just got a bit of a balance in it, they were like, they had their own cars,
Yeah.
they had things going for themselves, innit? I was like, bread and water thing, just
Yeah.
going hard after this thing. And just having nothing to show for it was tough. It was so tough. So I started saying to myself, in the midst of being in semi-pro football, I did my coaching badges.
Yeah.
It was at that point where I said to myself, you know what? I'm just going to get my head down. I'm going to start my own business, because right now I have nothing to show for it. I even got my own whip at them times. So I was like, nah, I'm gonna get my head down, start my own business, get local, but I'm not gonna pack in football because I love it, and I was a strong believer in just being the best that I could be. So I went locally, and I just kind of did, like, I played for a team locally, Hornchurch at the time, was still training, was doing a lot more coaching, was working in a school. So yeah, and that's where my headspace kind of went to. So yeah, I definitely felt like, all right, the chasing the dream team, I'm not sure it's gonna work out that way, innit? So yeah, I needed to make sure I was still happy and still had something to be able to just, have the freedom of going out and doing whatever I wanted to do. So yeah, that was a point in life where I definitely, it hit me hard. But I feel like if I didn't go through that process, if I didn't find myself going through that process of, that disappointment, I wouldn't have encountered what I then encountered thereafter.
So character building, basically, you're talking about, like, in terms of like the environment where we grew up, there's a lot of temptations, where people can throw things in your face and be like, okay, you might not have money, but here's something for you to hold, and maybe flip that and kind of survive. And before you know it, you get roped up into a life where you never really imagined, something that I encountered myself when I was younger. When I was 16, I got released, and it was a tough time. And mentally, I guess I wasn't in the right place because I started doing things that was out of my character. And before you know it, like I said, you get roped up into that lifestyle, and it's really not you. And it's only until when us as human beings, we start reacting when things really get bad. For you, what was it a thing where you said to yourself, no, I'm sticking to this dream, I'm sticking to, working, I'm sticking to finding a job, I'm sticking to doing a bit of coaching and get my head down and work? Like, what kind of what kept you on that path and not steered you away from, doing things that maybe is not seen in a positive light?
Yeah, there was a culmination of things, man. I had some real good people around me, real positive people around me. That was one factor. And then obviously I kind of encountered my relationship with God and that path that I went on thereafter. To go into the people that I had around me, you mentioned Danny Bailey earlier on, giving him a shout out. He was a very positive influence for me. Not just that, it was weird. Like, even I had certain people, that were maybe elders in the area that I was growing up in. And it was like, once they knew that I was involved in ball, I got into ball quite late. So the first kind of academy experience I had was my scholarship. So I went straight in on scholarship. But as soon as that was a reality, certain people that were elders, or, you know what I mean, elders to me back in the day, it was like, you've got prospects now. What are you doing here? Do you know what I mean? But prior to that, though, I was dabbling, I've been a good guy. I've always been a good kid, innit? But just sucked into my peers and that environment, when you start, just dealing with things that you don't need to be dealing with, innit? Yeah. So I've been there, done that. But once I was exposed to football and I started to get a taste of it and started to really feel like, no, I can actually do this, Like, actually, those encounters and the right people telling me, your prospects, get out of here. You don't need to be at this shubs. You don't need to be dabbling with that or whatever it is. So those people really helped me to have a stance to really go after football. And just the influence of like the likes of Danny, Trevor, other influential people that were around me. And we had a lot of good guys, when we used to get together and kick ball. And there was a lot of good guys that were around at the time, that were, just straight shooters, do you know what I mean? And I think those people had a good influence on me. So yeah, that was a positive impact. I think the biggest impact was, when I went back to the disappointment of chasing the dream and then coming local. I had the tendency of thinking about, what about quick money? What about going on different routes? But my older brother is probably another example. He went to prison twice, and it was like, I didn't want to go down that route. I knew that much. Do you know what I mean? I saw the effect it had on him once he came out. So I was
Did it affect you as well?
100%. Well, when I was younger, it affected me to think I was a guy.
Okay.
Because you know, you got your older brother who's in prison, and you think you're a guy. But when he came out, and I've just seen the damages and the consequences of that, you know, which I won't go into detail with, but that in itself had a real effect on me to say, you know what, that's not what I want. Do you know what I mean? I've seen that maybe as, you know, affected the family or so on and so forth. I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want that. So I learned from, say, his mistakes in a way. And I've been able to kind of, just really have a real focus for football and doing it right. And obviously when I encountered my relationship with God, I was like, and I just was sold out. Like I was just gonna, do you know what I mean? No way. There's no way. And it gave me that true essence of belief as well. That helped me along the way. So I hope that kind of answers your question.
Yeah, no, 100, bro. Do you know what? Because there's so much things there's so much substance to you as a person, and I feel like we ain't got enough time to cover everything. We're definitely gonna have to do a part 2, 100%, where we're gonna have to do one live in person, 100%, and just go over it, because I think people like yourself need to have that line shone on them, because where we grow up, it's like when someone does something positive, it's not seen as like, he's made it. Like, it's more so seen like, he's got to a stage. What about me? You're not bringing me. Do you know what I mean? Things like that, where it's like, we're not shining the lights on people like yourself, where you've made it. You made it to a certain extent, which we'll touch on in terms of success and whatnot. But like, we need more of that. And it was like you said, people like Danny Bailey, where he would always use you as an example to the younger players. I'd always hear Danny like say, "Oh, listen, boys, Omar, look at Omar. Yeah, look at Omar. Like, he's doing it properly." And that's the thing though, but it's right, because we need people like that as an example, because there's so much talent where we're from. There's so much creative people. There's so much entrepreneurs where we're from. And this is another reason why I wanted to start this whole podcast, because there's in football, there's so many different avenues that you can go down. You know, right now you're blessed to be playing, and again, like I said earlier on, anything's possible. And there's younger kids that are probably going through the same thing at the moment that you've been through, where they might be working, they might be doing a bit of coaching on the side. They're still chasing their dream, going through the non-league system. I've been through that system. It's not pretty. You got managers telling you, mate, all that bruv stuff don't work around here. Like, do you know what I mean? Where it's like, what do you mean? What does that mean? Like, do you know what I mean? So you encounter a lot of things where it might be like discrimination, or just a lot of things. Sometimes you might get dropped and you're thinking like, why am I not playing? I'm better than this player. And you've been working hard, you're putting in extra hours. But again, that's life, that's character building. And it's amazing to see where you are at the moment, and talking about success that I just covered a little bit. And we'll talk about God 100%, because I'm a firm believer of God as well. And we'll definitely touch on that. But talking about success, I was reading, I'm currently reading a book on Pep Guardiola and his time at Bayern Munich, and the way they saw success. And they were talking about, how do you get elite players to continue to perform at a high performance and bring that success. And I was just thinking about success and what it means to different people. And I was kind of reflecting on myself in terms of the word success. So I thought, you know what, it'd be a good topic to kind of bring it to you and ask you, like, your definition of success and what does it mean to you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, I kind of mentioned it earlier, you know, I think I really had this focus of being the best that I could be.
Mm-hmm.
That for me is success. And the reason why I put it that way is that's the only thing I can really control. You know, I could define success by saying playing in the Premiership, you know, playing Champions League football, or, you know, scoring this many goals or this, that, and the other. Yeah. And it's like those are outcomes. Do you know what I mean? Those are things that hopefully I'd love to attain. But what I can control is being the best that I can be.
Yeah.
And if I'm the best that I can be on a consistent basis, more often than not, I'm gonna end up in the position that I need to be.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, being the best that I can be is what I would define as success, and what I choose to use to kind of get me through the day-to-day battles. I think something that I'm really challenging myself with recently, which I've learned, is just the discipline of, like, you know, just the daily disciplines.
Yeah.
Daily disciplines. I'm going through a book called Slight Edge.
Okay.
Which is really, really good, what I've read so far. Only a couple chapters in.
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I think there's a common theme, and even in the scripture in the Bible, it says, he who is faithful with little be rewarded with much. And sometimes we kind of relinquish, the everyday activities, the training session, or
Yeah.
Doing extras in my core or this and that. And it's like it's in those daily disciplines that we see the big monumental kind of changes. My gaffer even came up, or he shared a quote with us, and he said persistent execution of brilliant basics.
Wow.
And that for me, I've really like clung to that, because that's what really makes a difference for a lot of successful athletes. Do you know what I mean? For a lot of successful people, do you know what I mean? It was the daily disciplines, it was the doing the basics, doing them well. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what differentiates them from anyone else. So that's how I would define success. Yeah.
No, definitely, mate. Bro, you hit the nail on the head there. And it's like, I heard Will Smith say this similar thing where he's like, laying a brick per day, you'll finally get your wall. Do you know what I mean? So it's like those little achievements that you do per day will add up to the big success, or whatever success that means to you, whether it's just, getting your mum out the area, or anything that means to you in terms of success. But do you know what? We're speaking about God, and you're saying about, being the best that you can, the best version of yourself. Would you say your connection with God and, your faith is hugely important to you in terms of being the best version of yourself? And how do you use that to your advantage? I would say, like, how do you use, your relationship with God to get the best out of you?
It's a massive part to my journey. And I feel like, to answer your question, I feel like it's getting to the root of identity. Like, what is my identity wrapped in? Is my identity wrapped in being a footballer? And if it's that, then what my life might look like, you might see, it's all about the flashy this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And the pride that comes with being a footballer. And sometimes there's the positive that comes with that identity of being a footballer. I get that, but there's the negative that comes with that. And if I put all my weight on being a footballer and my identity in being a footballer, like, it's gonna let me down. I can have a sick game that's amazing and everyone's on me, but then turn around and have a stinker, put one in the back of my own net. Do you know what I mean? And then you go from hero to zero.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like that for me is not a firm foundation. It's gonna cause me to be in a roller coaster of emotions. And I think my identity with Christ has really helped me to have just a firm foundation. When things are high, when things are low, I'm able to really be content. When I have a bad game or whatever, I remind myself, that I'm justified, that I'm loved by God. Do you know what I mean? Regardless of the good, bads, and the ugly, I know God's got a plan for me. So, you see people chucking out, God's plan. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's true. I mean, God's got a plan for my life. He's got a purpose for me. So I trust that regardless of what's happening, he's in control. So for me, that gives me an essence of peace. That's given me a new level of like freedom in like my expression on the pitch. I haven't cracked it. I'm still a work in progress. That's for sure.
For sure.
But yeah, I think my identity being grounded in my relationship with God has definitely helped me to be able to just operate with a level of like peace. Sometimes you can be really anxious building up to games. What's my future gonna look like? I've got a baby now. I've got to feed the family, mortgage. What I'm gonna do after my career's finished. You know what I mean? It's a short career. There's a lot. Do you know what I mean? So if I was to solely put my identity as being a footballer, it's gonna fail. Do you know what I mean? It's gonna be like sinking sand. You know what I mean? And feel the disappointments. So yeah, when my identity is in Christ, I just feel like there's a peace, there's a sureness, and I get to do it with him. So he guides me as I'm going through this journey.
Powerful, man.
Which has been key, yeah.
No, that's powerful, bro. No, because I remember, again, I can relate to that because me and my boy Danny, Danny, Daniel Burnett Williams, like, I remember when we was going through the non-league system and we was heavily into our faith, and we're still men of God and whatnot. We believe in every aspect. And it's like, I remember we was going through the non-league system and before matches we'd read our Bible and whatnot, just to kind of, like you said, calm our nerves sometimes. Like, and it was sometimes we're seeing like, what are you lot doing? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you should be getting ready, you should be pumping, like the music should be blazing in the change room. Do you know what I mean? And it's like it's not like they were looking down on us. It wasn't familiar to them. That's what it was. They weren't really educated on that side of things. And for you, how has the reception been from your peers, your teammates, and do you guys have like a group? Because we used to go to John Bostock's house and would sit down and read verses and things like that, which was for me was empowering, because you was in an environment where you was around your brothers, where you can speak about certain things, and as men as well, it helped, because there'll be times where as men we bottle up a lot of things and we don't really share a lot of things. And it's beautiful sometimes for us to sit down and kind of just go through things. And for you, like, how's the reception been in terms of your peers, your teammates, and etc.?
Yeah, I think in recent years there's been a real growing of like believers that are being a bit more bold. And when I say that, I'm not talking about the bio where they put like like, do you know what I mean, follower of Jesus or whatever. I'm talking about guys that are really on there walking it. And so that helps, because there's I'm able to plug into there's a few platforms that have been around now for a little while. Ballers in God, which is run by John Bostock, really good. F3, which is run by Daryl Robson and Toby Show Silver. Both these platforms have blessed me so much, and I get to do fellowship with other brothers where I can be vulnerable. In football, like, people wearing a mask.
Yeah.
There's this mask that everyone puts on. You can't be quite as vulnerable, as you would maybe in your own home or whatever it is. But like with my relationship with these other brothers, I get to not just within football as well.
Yeah.
But that foundation of doing fellowship with my brothers allows me to be vulnerable, allows me to be honest, and I can walk and I go into my football realm and I don't have to put on a mask anymore. Do you know what I mean? I'm free. So yeah, I think it's good to know that there's other brothers, and I think it's because of that, because other brothers are being a bit more vocal about it. I think it's becoming a bit more accepted by those that. Back in the day, it was a bit more like, you're a Bible basher. Do you know what I mean? They were properly coming after you. But I think everyone just kind of respects it, and they just kind of like take a seat back and they go, cool, if that's what you want to do, then yeah, go for it.
For sure.
We pray before games, and lads are like aware of that, and it's like, do you know what I mean? So sometimes someone might be like, I might want to join you or whatever. There's an odd day where we break bread before training on occasion. And teammates like, okay, cool, I've always thought about it, do you know what I mean? And they're curious, and we're like, yeah, next one, let me jump in or whatever, do you know what I mean? So they respect it. They respect it now. So it's a good sign, isn't it? So,
definitely. No, that's beautiful to hear, man. Do you know what I want to touch on? The day when you signed professional and you said, you know what, this is my first contract. Talk to us about that day, man, because it's a special day. And for you, did it feel like, you know what, this hard work's finally paid off, or did you feel like this is only the beginning? This is only the start of the journey. Talk to us about that day, man. Family, like everything. What was it like? What was the feeling?
Yeah, I was so charged. I had tunnel vision.
Yeah.
And I imagine I didn't even tell anyone until I actually signed it.
Okay.
Like I came back from signing the contract, and it was my missus' surprise birthday.
Oh, wow.
I've arranged a surprise birthday, and I told her on the surprise birthday, I signed for Accrington. And she's like, hey, you're moving away. I was like, but I was so gassed. I was like, just as soon as I knew that there was the interest, they were the first one with like concrete interest, like contracts. So there was talks of other teams and so on, but they were like, come up now, we want to speak to you.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, I'm going up there and I'm signing. Whatever they put on the table kind of thing, agent can do his work, kind of try and squeeze what he can, but I was just so hungry. I was like, whatever. It was just the beginning. As you said, it wasn't like, I've arrived. No way. Like, it was like, I'm just scratching the surface of like where I want to get to. Because my desires and my aspirations is to play at the highest level possible. So that isn't it yet. Do you know what I mean? I'm not there yet. So yeah, I remember going up there on a train with my agent at the time. And yeah, man, I was gassed. Don't get me wrong, you probably wouldn't have seen it in the emotions internally though. It was all going off in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, went up there. I sat down with manager and so on, and the assistant said, I think he put out an article thereafter. It was like, as soon as I met him and I spoke with him briefly, like I wanted to sign him straight away because I knew the guy wanted it. I could see in his eyes, like he was hungry. I was like, I said to him, like, I'll do whatever. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll do whatever it takes. And I was like, this is my opportunity. I always said to myself, I've always backed myself in believing that, I'll be able to give me the opportunity, I'll take it. And I think I've proven that, wherever I have gone so far, if I'm given an opportunity, I can take that opportunity and do well with that. So I really felt like, give me the opportunity. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. So, but yeah, I was only scratching the surface. That was for sure. I felt like there's so much more that I've had to give. So yeah, man, that's kind of the space that I was at. I was charged though.
Oh, crazy. And how old was you? How old was you when you signed that?
I think was it 23 or 24?
Okay.
I think I was 23, but turned 24 that season.
Okay.
But yeah, as you can tell, that's quite late.
Yeah.
Like breaking into the league, and it was a tough slog. I think it might even been 24, and I turned 25.
Okay. So even a bit older than that.
Even older.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. But yeah, I think it was 24, and I was turning 25, and so it was like super late in it.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, but up until then, I was at Ryman level. Then I went to Conference South. Then I went to Conference Prem. Then I went to League Two. And then it was just like, I'm in the right trajectory right now. I'm heading in the right direction. So I was gassed.
Nah, crazy, man. I can only imagine that feeling as well. And also talk to us about the first day when you got into the training ground. You was like, right, cool, this is my first session. Like, I need to impress the manager. I need to talk to us about your feelings, your emotions, what we was going. How did you prepare for it as well? Because that's also another thing where people forget about preparation. Like, talk to us about all those stuff.
Well, to be honest, I think I've been preparing for it.
Okay.
Like, that preparation process didn't happen in a short period of time. Like I said, I was in non-league for ages. So I've been preparing for that moment for a long time. And I think I probably was implementing those daily disciplines back then. And pre-season, I think, is a good time for me because I'm probably one of the fittest defenders in the majority of the teams in it.
Trust me, he is.
So I'd back myself to make a good impression from the get-go. So pre-season, I'm not usually completely a bag of nerves. Because I'm half decent at certain running and so on. So I was like, I was pretty calm, to be honest, because I've gone through the pre-season routes and done well in whether it's non-league pre-seasons, all the shot pre-season, whatever it was. It was like I did those pre-season and I've always been like, I've made a really good impression. So there was kind of like, I'm gonna just follow the same thing that I've been doing. So I kind of felt like with the foundation that's been laid prior to then, I was pretty at peace. I was pretty like, let's do this. Let's get it. Let me show them what I'm about. And not long after that, like the manager was calling me an alien. He referred to me as an alien. He was like, bro, I want to know your weaknesses. That's what he said to me at that time. He eventually found out what my weaknesses were, but but at first it was like, because I was coming in, I was super fit, just like, I can play a bit and I'm physical and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think the preparation stage had happened way before
that
the moment of signing my contract and thinking, oh my gosh, I need to get ready for this now. It was like, no, I'd been ready. I'd been running that. A shout out to my boy Ryan Hervel, who helped me along the way, man, because there were times where, I don't really want to do it, but we're going out and we're doing hill sprints, we're doing forest runs. Like, we were just religiously like getting together and just doing it, chasing this dream. So yeah, man. So I think it's vital that you get around the right people and just keep those disciplines, man.
Nah, for sure, man. That's powerful, man. Definitely powerful. And again, where did that mindset come from? Like, again, you're saying you was prepared from before. A lot of people get opportunities, and when they do come, it's like, oh man, I need to start preparing now. It's where that's too late. Where did you build that mindset where, what, I need to get ready because I believe that something's gonna come along the way. Do you know what I mean? Rather than being ready when it does come.
I feel like it's been a mindset that's kind of been instilled in me, whether that's, my father. I think my father played a massive role in just going after excellence and being the best that you can be. He was very meticulous in what he would do. And I think I've watched that example and always kind of wanted to emulate that. I think that mindset also was instilled by the likes of, Danny Bailey, who he got into ball very late. So he signed pro quite late. His journey was very similar. So it was like, he was just all about, being the best you can be in the details. So when you go to Danny Bailey's training session and you're passing a ball across the pitch for like 40 minutes, do you know what I mean? And he's talking about the detail of the technique and so on and so forth. It was like, it was just about being the best that you can be in it and having to wait your turn in it when the opportunity does come. So yeah, man, I just think, that was a mindset that was cultivated over time. And yeah, I guess that was all I could control. There was nothing else that I could do. Do you know what I mean? And because I had a taste and I got into football super late and I saw, being at Millwall and those opportunities and then, being in the likes of the company of Glenn Hoddle and other players and stuff, I kind of thought to myself, nah. I need to go after this. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, man, I think those moments encouraged me and inspired me to believe that I can do it. And yeah, just keep that focus. So yeah.
Nah, dope, man. Dope. Definitely, the importance of having good people around you is vital, man. Very, very, very important. So, but yeah, then you made your move to Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
Well, how did that come about? And again, was it a thing where you felt like you needed to move on to further develop your football, or was it a thing where it kind of, both clubs kind of came to an agreement with it?
Yeah. So I tried to force that, I'll be honest.
Okay.
They came in and showed interest, both myself and another player at the time, Matty Pierce. We had interest and teams made bids for us and was like, okay, like I wanted to go. I didn't want to stay in League Two again. They obviously were confident that they were going to get promoted, and they did that season. But I was like, because of my age, I was like, and I've been heading in this direction. I'm like, I want to just go. I want to go now.
You don't have time to waste right now, basically.
I don't have time to waste. Yeah. So I could have been impatient. I don't know, but yeah, I really wanted to progress and get that opportunity to play there. So yeah, and don't get me wrong, Shrewsbury wasn't exactly like it's not like it was the ultimate progressive move, because up until then, they've just been like a team that's just surviving. Do you know what I mean, in League One? But I just said I want to expose myself, get to that level. And show that I can play at that level. And then after, so yeah, when I knew of the interest, I really wanted to go. It was a bit of a resistance. It wasn't the easiest or smoothest transition to get out of the club at the time. But yeah, played a couple games, and then for Aki, and then after was able to go.
Okay.
And then after I had to wait my turn, man. So Shrewsbury was a good experience, man. It was challenging, definitely challenging, because I spent most of my time there playing out of position.
Yeah, I see a few times on the lineups. I see you playing right back. You was playing different positions all the time.
Yeah. So I spent most of it at left back. I didn't even play right back, but I played left back. And I'm right-footed, obviously.
Yeah.
I played left back. That first season, the team started off sick.
I remember. Yeah.
Literally they won their first 9 games, and they were unbeaten in 14. So it was like I had to wait my turn. As soon as I came in, the boys were absolutely flying. Like first 9, it was unbelievable how they started the season. So I was waiting my turn, waiting for my opportunity, and then after it so happened that the left back done his cruciate.
Okay.
He was out for the season, and then after we was trying to work out how we was gonna maneuver that, so that one of the centre backs went left back because he's left-footed. I went centre back, played a few games there, and then after we ended up chopping it around, changing. And I probably did myself no good by playing left back and doing well one of the occasions against a tricky winger. And then after, that was me for the rest of the season. I played left back, but I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed the challenge. Found myself ending up in team of the season because of that. So yeah, man, I enjoyed that experience of being at Shrewsbury for the first season. We ended up getting to the final of the Checker Trades. We lost, got to the final playoffs, lost. But there were some valuable lessons that I learned through that time. But that first season, as good as it was, probably became the cursor.
Okay.
Because then every manager that came in after then was like, "Oh, you're left back, right?" I was like, "No, I'm centre back. I want to play centre back." And I was like, "No, you're left back." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolute head loss.
Yeah.
So that was the frustration that I had to go through maybe 2 seasons where I really wanted to play my position. Probably wasn't regarded or wasn't respected because I'd not really maybe proven it at this club to play at that position. So yeah, that was a bit jarring. But served, got my head down, did what needed to be done, and enjoyed my time. And it's a really good club. So I met some really, really good people along the way as well, man. So, yeah, man, it was a good experience.
No, amazing. And something again for the young players. I know, like you're saying, you're telling the coaches, I'm a centre back, I'm not a left back. But sometimes you got to do a job in the team. Do you know what I mean?
100%. It's challenging because people are going to judge you as at that position, especially at an elite level. As in men's football, it's not like, oh, he's still developing. It's like you're a man playing that position. The gaffer maybe must expect you to be doing, a job at that position. So it's tough in that sense. But what I would say is that, because of my upbringing and being under the likes of the Danny Bays, and even with Glenn Hoddle's Academy, when I was out in Glenn Hoddle's Academy in Spain, we worked so much on our weak foot. So it was he was both footed. So it was like for us as players, everyone that stepped out of there can use their weak foot, and they're very content, with using their weak foot when called upon. And I think that really helped me because then I found myself playing left back. And I just kind of, I guess from my upbringing, I was humble enough to be like, I want to play games.
Yeah.
That's what it was about for me. It's like, I'm not going to say, no, I'm not playing left back, so then I'm going to be sat on the bench. Like, for me, I was like, I really wanted to play games because at that stage where I was in my career, I was like, I want to get out there. I want to improve. Where do I improve the most? Out on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? So I just wanted to be out on the pitch in whatever capacity. And don't get me wrong, I've seen like maybe, I think the modern day centre back as well.
Yeah.
I think I was very aware, being a coach, I think that mindset of doing coaching and being very aware of player development, I was aware of the fact of, centre backs, when they go out on loan, sometimes they go out and they play fullback or right back, do you know what I mean, left back or defensive midfield. They find themselves in different positions to accommodate the fact that they're maybe not as physical, whatever it is, or to add more ball playing, maneuvering, whatever it may be, to their game. So I kind of just took it as an opportunity to develop, whether that was physically, because as a fullback, running up and down, the physical demand different. But it's something I embraced, and because I was a firm believer in just being a student. I think there were some books that really helped as well. I read Bounce by Matthew.
Okay, yeah.
Really good book. It talks about, just purposeful practice and just those 10,000 hours. And I'm like, if I want my 10,000 hours, I want to be out on that pitch getting it in. So yeah, I think those things were key, the right books, the right people, and that coaching mindset that kind of helped me, embrace the fact that, and you need to be humble enough. Sometimes if you think too much of yourself and you say, I'm just this and I'm just that, you know what I mean? You're also going to put limitations on yourself. We don't know it all. I could say I'm a centre back and someone might turn around and say to me, actually, I think your best position is defensive mid. And then after I find myself making a career out of that, for a young lad, they might need to, be humble enough to embrace what the coach has to say. Because it might add something to them. Do you know what I mean?
No, for sure. It's definitely added, more skills to your toolbox, and you're able to adapt in situations when you are on the pitch, when you find yourself in that sort of scenario, which is, again, adding to your value as a player, as a person as well. So incredible. Something that's, again, like put a big smile on my face when you guys drew against West Ham, East London boy. Like when the draw was made, what was it like where you said, you know what? I'm playing, like, basically, this is my backyard. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is where I'm from. This is where I grew up, playing against a Premier League team. Did you feel like this was a time for you to showcase what you can do, or was it a thing where it's like, let me just enjoy the moment and play against, you know, high level athletes?
Yeah, a bit of both. A bit of both. Let me showcase myself. Yes. Let me also just do what I've got to do. It's just another game. So I think you need that balance, because if you think it's all about the showcase, you're going to lose sight of the team and the job that needs to be done. If you kind of just think, it just is what it is, you can maybe give the occasion what it deserves at the time. Do you know what I mean? So, but don't get me wrong. I think the time I played West Ham for Shrewsbury, that was the second time I was playing them. The season before then, we played them for Accrington. And so it was back to back each season. I played against them. So yeah, it was interesting, man. My dad's a West Ham fan, so obviously I lost my father in the process. I know he's a West Ham fan, so for me that was such a God moment in it, because it was like Burnley, that was epic in the cup, and then the next game was West Ham away. I think we played Bradford, then West Ham. But yeah, it was pretty epic. I went back to the ends. Yeah, everyone's in the stands. It was dope.
Amazing, man.
I had so many people that haven't been able to watch me play football, and for the first time they saw me play football, and they were like, "Bro, you're actually good like that."
Yeah. Of course, man.
Yeah, it's like it was dope, man. It was dope, and a lot of people that I've been on the journey with, for them to be a part of that as well, that's special.
Yeah.
I think, and I did a lot of coaching as well. The first time I went to West Ham, I got a bit of a story. I needed about 70 tickets.
Wow.
70 plus tickets. So obviously it was what was the like the checker trade now, innit? I don't know what it was. Yeah. It was Johnson's Paint, or no, actually no, it wasn't that competition. It was the Carabao Cup.
Okay, yeah.
But for some reason, we could get tickets like just dead cheap, and they had community tickets. So it was like there was just loads of tickets I could get access to. And I did coaching, obviously. So I was still, and it was still fresh. It was only a couple, like 2 years ago or a year ago, I was actually coaching these boys, because I was still coaching the boys at Aldershot, Sunday League team. And like, so I was like, yeah, I'm getting tickets for all of them. All of them are coming to see, because they're like, their coach is he's now playing on this stage. So that must have been surreal for them. So I got all those boys to be a part of it. All the other like younger kids that maybe, you know, parents that I've done one-to-ones or whatever that I connected with, I got them all to be a part of that. So yeah, I just I felt like along my journey, I'm like, this is not for me. I had this real kind of belief, like, it's not just for me. It's bigger than me. Like, me making it's bigger than just me doing it for my own sake. It's actually because other people are looking at my life and they're being inspired. And yeah, that this is going to be key to them, you know, believing. And even when they have setbacks, they can go, you know what, I still can do it, because they saw me. They saw me going on my pedal bike, going from working in a school and coaching and then going to a semi-pro team in the evening to now, you know, playing on the stage like West Ham. So yes, I just think it was a serious occasion in many ways. In many ways, it was a serious occasion. So yeah.
Bro, you saying that just brought goosebumps to me, because I'm just thinking, I'm trying to put myself as a young player looking up. You know, I'm a coach myself, and I see the way, you know, it's easy for these youngsters to look up to the coach. You know, they look at you as you're the superhero, because, you know, it's football. You're not really telling them what to do exactly like school. Like, make sure you're doing this, even though sometimes a few discipline, you know, situations that you have to implement in football. But like, I'm just trying to put myself in that position of those young kids coming to watch their coach at West Ham. Like, I don't think you probably do, but the impact that you've made, you can't describe it, bro, because you've given them that sense of like, I can do this. Do you know what I mean? I've seen my own coach that coaches me. He's playing against the Lanzinis, or do you know what I mean? I see this guy week in and week out playing against Manchester United. Like, you've given them that hope and that belief. And like you said, it's beyond you. When you get to that stage of realizing that this journey is beyond you, like you said, you lost your father, and it's like back to back, you're playing against West Ham. He supports West Ham. Like, these things are unexplainable, bro. Like, again, like I said, it brought goosebumps to me, because I'm thinking, you must have been a superhero to these kids, and still are. Do you know what I mean? To see you still going to your journey, and for me as a coach, that's fulfilling, man. And you've changed mindsets and probably generations as well. Like that's the impact of what you're having and what you're doing at the moment. Because without you knowing, these kids are just, their mind is ticking in a different wavelength now. It's not the same as it used to be. You know, seeing that some might not take it on board as much, but there's others that, you know, saying, no. My coach is playing at West Ham. He was coaching me 2 years ago. Do you know what I mean? So, bro, that just put a big smile on my face. And again, this is the reason why I wanted to get you on, because we're just touching the surface, like, of what you've achieved, and more lights needs to be shown on people like yourself, man. But, bro, how, before we go into a quick little fire round question, how do you deal with criticism?
How do I deal with criticism? It's a good question. What I have been doing of late is, I think, firstly, before I go into that, as I spoke to you earlier about my identity, and that identity being in my relationship with God, you know, I feel like I continually look to God. And that for me is what gives me the ultimate peace. You know, sometimes I also think to myself, you know, I used to really run with the idea of, you know, if I give someone the space to criticize me, it means I've done something wrong anyway.
Yeah.
So I was always like, because of that growth mindset, I was trying to be like, you know, I'm just going to learn. Oh, if they're criticizing, I'm giving them room for that. Let me go and work harder. Let me go and do what I need to do. So that was always my mindset with regards to, you know, when I was in non-league, I always said that to myself. If he's moaning at me, it means I'm giving him an excuse to moan at me. If I was bang on it, he wouldn't moan at me. So I kind of think to myself, I've always ran with that mindset of like, if they're criticizing me, it means there's something I need to work on. And that's it. Done. Because if I have the perfect game, then, do you know what I mean? Then no one's going to moan at anything. There's no criticism. But I'm not perfect. So that means that I'm going to expose myself to constant criticism. And especially in an age where there's social media and now fans have access to be able to say all that they want to say. I'm not a fan of that, because I feel like you should only really take on the criticism of those that where their feedback means something. It might be your manager, it might be your teammates, it might be, you know, a voice of wisdom that you have, whoever that may be in it. But I think taking it from those areas is key. You know, I think there's a quote that I've heard said, you know, if you live by people's acceptance, you're gonna die by their criticism or die by their rejection. Do you know what I mean? So like, I try my best now in the space that I'm in to funnel out, you know, just the noise. So like on my social medias are kind of like, you know, you got all your settings where you can like allow only people you follow to, you know, see their notifications and so on. And it's like, that's kind of just all I really do in it. Like, so I don't get to see the praises, nor do I get to see the criticism, because I'm like, I've kind of said to myself, I'm not going to live by allowing myself to get gassed by the compliments, because I've also seen how the positive can also have a negative effect. Do you know what I mean? I can see how the praises of everyone get to your head and you start thinking you are the guy. And then it allows pride to come up in me, and then after
complacency,
not taking it serious. I'm not grateful for where I'm at and what I'm going through. So for me, I funnel out all of that. Do you know what I mean? And then to take me back to my relationship with God, like, I just continue to look to, who does he say I am? Do you know what I mean? And I think criticism is key, because the constructive criticism is key. Criticism in itself, if we constantly expose ourselves to that, we naturally will just start embracing this as truth, subconsciously, whether we like it or not. So yeah, man, I think in a day where there's everything's on social media, I think, you know, everyone's looking for that satisfaction or instant gratification, instant likes, you know what I mean? All of that. So I try my best to not get gassed by it. Even when I go on Insta now, it's hit and run. I post and I dip. That's it. I'm not liking every single comment. I'm not looking at it. I just hit and run. I just post, done, dip. I mean, and maybe people might say that's extreme or whatever, but that's what I'm on. That's just what I'm going through, innit? Because I don't want to ever allow myself to get carried away or complacent. So yeah.
No, for sure. And again, it goes back to what you said, you know, being the best version of yourself. If you know that you going through this Instagram comments and reading the praises and reading negatives it's not going to be the best version of yourself, you're aware of that. And that's something that you have to do the work within yourself. No one can't really help you when it comes to those things. You know best of how you operate, where you operate to your best level. You know, it's like your computer. When you see it moving slow, it needs to, you know, you need to get rid of things. Do you know what I mean? So we as people need to know that ourselves. But last one before we go into that quick little fire round, little bit more lighthearted. You know, football's a short career. You came into the game a bit late. Have you thought about what you're going to do after football? Is it something that you look forward ahead, or is it a thing where you're in the moment, you're present right now and thinking about, you know, your career as it is at the moment?
Yeah, I've been very aware of what I might do after football. I think being in non-league makes you think that way anyway.
Yeah.
When you're semi-pro, you know that semi-pro wage or football isn't going to cut it. So you know you need something on the side. So I did my coaching badges. Been very into my reading and so on. So I've been in a space of educating myself.
Okay.
Being mindful of there's a few things that I know I might get into. I'm educating myself, preparing myself, giving myself the best foundation possible, that when I am in that scenario, you know, whether it is a course that I need to go on and get certain qualifications, or whether it is, you know, just in a field of investments or whatever, I don't know in it, but I'm just going to be reading and getting myself up to speed with that. That's key for me. So that's I've been thinking about it. I couldn't put a finger and say I'm definitely going to do this as things stand. You know, I think there's a few areas where I could see myself doing a few things. So for us now, as long as I'm kind of in this space where I'm like not 100% sure what it is I'm going to do, I'm just going to continue to educate myself.
Yeah, beautiful, man.
Yeah, but I genuinely believe that, especially at this level, you know, we're not League One, League Two isn't the holy grail, innit? It's not like elite football, like Premiership, where these guys are getting, you know, 100 grand and all of that. So because of that, I have to be mindful of, do you know what I mean? Like, what am I going to do after? Do you know what I mean? I can't live off that football money. Like, that's not going to last. It will last only so long. So, yeah, I've been thinking about it. I think it's good. There's a lot of friends of mine who, you know, whether they've started a business or whether they're thinking about doing so. I strongly recommend that. I strongly recommend. Sometimes that also is healthy. You know, if football's all that it's about, it can be all consuming and just have a negative effect on you. You need something when you go home that takes your mind off it. And I think you know, thinking about life after football is a positive tool. Other guys might go, I'm gonna go on COD, I'm gonna go on FIFA. Do you know what I mean, online games or whatever it is in it. It's like, yeah, I get that. Do you know what I mean? It takes your mind off ball, but imagine if you channeled that in a positive direction. Do you know what I mean? How much better would that be? So I think, the balance is key. I also do think though, it can be a distraction. So like I said, you know, balance is key in it. Don't allow it to affect your football. So yeah.
No, for sure, man. And definitely, like, I can definitely hear the growth and the development that, you know, just speaking to you. We ain't spoke in a little while, do you know what I mean? So definitely can hear the growth and the learning that you're doing, and it's beautiful to see, because it's, again, like you've changed mindsets of these young children that you've coached and everything like that. So I'm sure whatever realm that you still got time anyway. Let's not talk about retirement right now. You still got time, still got things to do. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, when that time does come, I'm sure, you know, you'll definitely be in a realm where you're making a positive impact for sure. Right. Last little bit for you, Omar. Quick fire round question before we wrap things up. First one, best player you've played with?
Hoy. Does that mean matches only, like professionally, or any level training?
Both. We'll do both. Let's talk about matches first.
Matches, elite level on my team. Best player I have played with. I'm gonna say Jamal Lowe.
Okay. And also training?
Training level, Andre Bukard.
Okay.
Cold.
Yeah.
So cold. He
What?
played at Daggers. I'd never actually played with him at Daggers. I was on trial there on one occasion. But cold midfielder, centre mid. Go on, what you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say, what's the difference? Because a lot of people say, you know, in training, this player is quality, but then when it comes to the games, it's like sometimes they find it hard to replicate.
Yeah, but no. He's got that in games though.
Okay, all right, cool.
He's got it in games. This is me just saying I've only trained with him.
Okay, cool.
Seen him in games do the same stuff he does in training, innit?
All right.
So don't ever let that sound like I'm taking away from him.
Yeah.
He's a serious player. I don't know how he didn't play high. But yeah, with regards to that question, how come some people do it in training, they don't do it in matches? I think there's a little myth. I want to touch on that. I know this is a quick fire round, but here
go for it, bro. Go away, go.
I feel like there's a little myth in it because sometimes, you know, we go, some people do it in training, they can't do it in matches. Yeah, I would strongly suggest that sometimes there's certain training sessions are set out in ways that, you know, aren't realistic, so it doesn't help them in it. Yeah. But I do believe, and I've seen over time, those that are the best trainers, eventually come good. I swear to you, it sounds mad, but like, I think Pep's made a saying in it, like your performance is at its lowest will like fall to the standard of your training, innit? If a player in training is always sick in training, then his worst performance in a match might end up being that, you know, he's not as bad as the guy that's maybe not as good in training. Do you know what I mean? Stacking it off or not. So yeah, because I knew a player who was really good trainer. I was like, he never did it in matches. But then there was one season he went off and he's boss. Do you know what I mean? And done really well. So I'm like, what does that mean, innit? Because he used to really get labeled by everyone I've met. They were like, oh, he's sick in training. Oh, he's sick in training.
We all know that one person, innit?
Do you know what I mean? So yeah. But yeah, that's something I would say about.
No, that's good. Do you know what? I know we said a quick fire round, but don't there's no rules anyway. But in terms of like your coaching, because do you feel like that's helped you develop in terms of as a player and see things in a different perspective when you are playing, and also when the coach might have set up a session, you might think like, you know what, maybe I'll do this a little bit different or anything like that. You still do the session and not criticizing the session, but you're just seeing it in a different light because you've had that coaching background and you put your coaching hat on sometimes. Like, has it helped you as a player and you know, developed you?
Definitely. I would recommend for kids to do their coaching badges to get a better understanding of the game. 100%.
Yeah.
I think I remember reading or just being aware of, like, you know, when Pirlo coming to the end of his career. And he was like, it's like a manager's already out on the pitch, so he can tell his team what to do. And for me as a centre back who sees the game, who's meant to communicate, having a really good understanding of the game is key. So if I could be an experienced, mature, you know, centre back, you know, with an old head on young shoulders, I think it's only going to do me well. So yes, I strongly recommend for lads to do the coaching badge because your understanding of the game is going to be a lot better. So yeah, don't get me wrong as well. There's the negative because I can be quite critical. I wouldn't have done the session like this.
Cool.
So yeah, but no, it is good. It is good.
Nah, for sure, man. Right, we'll move on to the next one. Best player that you played against.
Best player I played against. I'm gonna say the best player I played against is Lanzini. That West Ham game. He came on and changed the whole dynamic. It felt like a bit of a 50-50 game. He came on and it was like we couldn't get the ball.
Switched it up.
And he switched it up. Payet was on the pitch as well, Dimitri Payet, but like Lanzini was still, for me, just he looked cold. He looked serious. The toughest opponent, probably not a question you asked me, but Alex Samuels.
Okay.
Wickham. Oh my days, the guy is an animal, bro.
Was he a winger?
Like just striker.
Okay.
Hungry, short, but just hungry. Hungry, just never gives you rest. He's probably the toughest opponent I've played against.
Powerful. Right. 3 words to describe yourself.
3 words to describe yourself. I would say calm. I would say faithful. And I would say persevering. Yeah.
Powerful.
Calm,
Powerful.
faithful, persevering. Yeah.
Powerful. I think I probably know the answer to this, but you might say something different. Your favorite coach?
Favorite. Yeah, I have to give a shout out to Danny Bailey, man.
Come
I have
on.
to give a shout out to Danny. Yeah, just it's bigger than, he was more than just a coach.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Danny Bailey all day, man. The life lessons that he's taught us is key.
Key, man. Yeah. Beautiful. Omar, beautiful touch there, Omar. Shout out Danny, man. Last one for you, bro. Best lesson that you've learned in the last 6 months?
6 months. Best lesson. Just share this. The daily disciplines are key. I think I've seen where I've neglected maybe, applying myself in training, but then in the tough times when, difficult games, I've seen my performance drop to the standard of my training, and I've maybe not taken that serious. So then after I'll come up short. So just, I think that for me was, as a footballer, that's one of the major lessons I've learned, really being focused and faithful in everything, training sessions, so on. So yeah.
Powerful, man. Bro, honestly, like, again, I don't think the whole podcast, whatever you want to call this, made full justice to the journey to it. Like I said it earlier on, it's just touching the surface, and whoever's listening, without a doubt, I'm fully confident that you've got something out of this. It just shows that the stereotype of footballers not educating themselves, you're the definition of the opposite to that. Like, you're educated, you're still willing to learn, regardless of the situation. You're seeing the bigger picture. We touched on earlier on, anything's possible. Faith, like, there's so much substance to you as a person. Forget about football. Me as a coach, looking at players, sometimes I look beyond the player. I look at the person, the mindset, because that is where you're going to get the best out of the player. How do they handle certain situations? As a player, when you become professional, everyone's at a certain standard, but the difference is, your mind. How do you channel that? How do you program that? So again, just sitting here speaking to you, anyone that's young, old, whatever, players, coaches, without a doubt, I'm sure they got something out of this. And it's just a pleasure, bro, to speak to you, catch up with you. Like I said, we need to do a part 2 where we're in person and kind of dive into the other stuff where you went to Spain. We didn't even touch on that. That's a big part of your life, like where you stepped out your comfort zone to a country where you've never really lived before. Do you know what I mean? So, or you never lived before. So that's a big part as well. But again, bro, I hope we didn't miss anything out just for this short little segment that we've done. And a pleasure, bro, again, to speak to you. And I wish you all the best for the future, for the rest of the season. And I'm sure, without a doubt, we'll see Omar Beckles soon on the TV again.
No, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me, to see what you're doing as well, man. I guess a lot of people have, ideas and good initiatives that they don't really move on, and you're really moving on it. So that's big.
I appreciate it, man.
And I think it's having a real impact, do you know what I mean? Because you're allowing these stories to be heard, and you're doing it in a way that's relatable, innit? Because, it's not in like a reporter sort of format and an interview. It's like, it's chilled, and people get to see a side of people that, you've created an atmosphere to be able to see a side of people that people probably wouldn't have access to.
I appreciate it, man.
What you're doing is massive. So keep doing what you're doing, man.
No, I appreciate it, man, bro. Much love, man. And remember, people, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If it brought value to you or someone else, make sure you share it to others as well. Peace.